what I look at. One of the things I often look at is every year, every 6 months, and every 90 days, I always like to pay attention to what the market is rewarding. If you in here tonight, if you in here, I'm gonna show you what we looking at, how we beat the market. So here's what I saw. I saw that these industries right here over the last 3 months have been killing it. XLE, XLI, and KBE. So XLE is the industrial industry. So that's your Caterpillars, that's your John Deere's. The last 3 months, they've been killing it. Also, energy over the last 3 months have been killing it over the last 90 days. Also, the banking sector. Ever since that collapse of those banks, the market has now gotten over that. Over the last 3 months, KBE, which is the S&P banking sector, has been up like crazy. Watch this. These industries also pay big dividends and often do big buybacks. The industrial companies, because they don't have a lot of growth in them, they often have big dividends and they often do big buybacks. What is a buyback? That's when a company is buying shares of itself to give value to shareholders. That's how we make money. Y'all trapping with me? All right, the reason why energy, these companies do what? Pay big dividends and buy shares back. The banking sector, why they do that? Because these industries don't have a lot of growth. They're more stable. In the beginning, we talked about the runners and we talked about the jump fresh off the porch. That's part of your industries that I'm talking about. Well, what I realized is that technology over the last month has lost a little steam. Over the last 3 months, it's lost a little steam. And it's not saying that technology isn't going crazy. It's just saying that the market often rotates. As the market gets fearful, the market find pockets that it won't go to and give money to. For us, if we can understand where the market putting its money at, we can now say, I want to navigate away a little here. So over the last part of this year, I see industrials, energy, and the KBR, I see them being a play. I'm not saying that technology isn't a play, but what I am saying is that over the next 5 months, you will see energy stocks going up more, you will see the banking industry going up more, and you will see industrials printing a little more profit. That is what Trappin see. That is my blueprint. I always try to show people what I see. Let's go a little further. So I call this part, man, like, why you ain't buying? And so when I look at the idea of people, here's what I like to see people say. The market going low. The first thing they say is the market too high. People always say something too high. And then once it's too high and the market drop down, they say the market going lower. How many times will people say this? I'm gonna let it go a little lower. Where you at? Wait, where am I'm gonna go a little lower, people at? Where am I'm gonna buy the dip a little deeper, people at? But every time we say that, I'm gonna be real with you. What happened after you say that? And then what you say after that? Damn. I shoulda. All right, and then what happens after that is, watch this, watch this, watch this. Once it go up, what were we saying? I'm gonna let it pull back. You confusing me. Am I lined up? All right, then once it pull back, once we put a pull back and it keep going up, then what we say? It's too high. Well, we said it was too high $15 ago. This is my people that's saying, I can buy Eli, it's gonna pull back. And then we go through I'm gonna wait for it to settle down. Then we go for the pullback, and then it goes too high. The problem is, I need you to be in position more than I need you to focus on getting it right. What I realized on the journey was, in the beginning stages, it's more important for you to be in the game than you to focus on buying at a discount. And I know people gonna go against me for that. And I ain't mad at that. Because the longer you play the game, the more the game starts to slow down for you. And once the game starts to slow down for you, then you can take advantage of what the game really doing. I ain't never seen a person in the 6th grade get trigonometry right. Shit, I bet I know people who do trigonometry get it right. But what happens is the longer you play the game, the more you're involved in the game, the more the information start making more sense to you. People always say, Trap, when it started clicking for you, I don't know, I just kept playing the game and eventually I knew I was going to understand it. Let's go a little further. All right, so here's one of the things I know that people always, how many people always have a problem with knowing when to sell or stop? There we go. Like we the only one do a live show with this much production. Like we bar none, we just different. We not in competition with nobody.
To see somebody that looks like us talk about stocks, because I had never seen that before.
You know, we buy during the drought, and in recession is the best time to buy.
I feel a whole bunch of wealth up in here, y'all.
Someone who gives me raw and uncut information.
I know how to break down a company. I know how to invest.
Being a more confident investor.
That Wall Street does look like us, no cliche.
I will no longer fertilize my fears.
That financial trauma has to be broken. We got to understand that we are more than consumers.
One share at a time can change your life, change your life.
What we doing? What we doing?
We're printing money, baby.
I think over the last couple years, just being in America has made everyone realize that there's no such thing as job security.
It's time to take accountability. It's time to be responsible. It's time to make the sacrifices. It's time to put in the work because this time it done got worse. Because this time ain't no saving you.
Wall Street looks like Earth on Pittsburgh, man. Stop playing.
So I want to walk you through a couple scenarios right quick, right? One of the reasons to sell a stock is the wrong thesis. Your investment thesis was based on facts and they turned out to be wrong. I want you to understand that it's okay to be wrong sometimes. I've been wrong a couple times. Notice I just say a couple. But you can see something and then that thing that you saw not happen, yo, get rid of it. Acknowledge the fact that you was wrong on it. All right, let's go a little right here. When the facts change, my thing I always say is when the reason why I bought it changes. When the reason why I bought the stock changes, it's time for me to let it go. Fall in love with no company. So I don't always agree with people saying you got to hold a stock for 20 years. You know why I don't agree with that? Because how the hell we know what's going to happen in 20 years? But I will say, if the stock you bought is performing and it's still performing, you own it. You know why? Because we sell the eggs, not the goose. So watch this. It's okay to tell your age right here a little bit. How many of us grew up as Toys R Us being the biggest toy company in the world? Some of y'all like, Toys R Us, what the hell that is, Trap? Somebody had a big dinosaur, it used to be a giraffe. Dinosaur, giraffe, ain't they the same? My bad, I'm playing. My bad. But what happens is, over time, you can get a CEO that don't know what the hell they're doing. If you get a CEO that don't know what the hell they're doing, guess what they start doing? They start spending money that they don't supposed to be spending. I'm gonna be rich. Every time LaShawna spend $1, I'll be like, how much that cost? I don't want to make bad decisions. CEOs that can't make good decisions. One of the ways you know a CEO making bad decisions is the return on invested capital is low. They increase in revenue, but they're not increasing profit. Two signs that a company is not going good. How many people ever heard of a company called Blockbuster? Okay, now you about to really tell your age. How many people heard of a company called Sears? Don't throw that at me. Sears was one time the largest company in America. What happened if you'd have been holding that for a year or 3 years ago, the stock was $2. 3 years ago, it was $2. Let's go a little further. How many of y'all heard of a company called Kmart? You knew Kmart wasn't right. I ain't never, every time, yo, Kmart was probably the hoodest store I ever. That thing used to stink, be dirty, stuff on the floor. The people always had an attitude. They ain't even had no uniform in Kmart. That's how I know that wasn't a good company. Bro, you got mismatched socks on. I knew that wasn't a good. I ain't gonna lie. I knew they wasn't. I said they ain't gonna be around long. I knew they weren't gonna be around long. But watch this. And the list goes on. But all those companies are on the stock market. So what happens if you own a company for 20 years and it ain't doing nothing? Like, okay, we know Macy's, right? It's like a $6 stock right now. How many times, let's keep it real, how many times you done went in Macy's and you could count the people that's in there right now? You feel me? But these companies are on the stock market. So I don't agree with the idea of holding a company for 20 years. Here's what I will say. When you buy a company, have the idea that I want to hold it for at least 5 years. And in that 5-year time span, if it's still increasing in value, if the number's still doing what it's supposed to do, I don't mind holding it for another 2-3 years. I'm on a year-to-year basis, man. I'm breaking up with you. I ain't falling in love with nothing. I'm talking about a company, y'all. I'm looking for love. But what happens is the knowledge evolves. And as the knowledge evolves, we got to evolve with it. And if we evolve with the knowledge and we evolve with the information, don't get me wrong, yo, I studied all the great investors, but what I realized was the way they started playing the game was different along the journey. Let me make it make sense to you even more. Warren Buffett is known as the greatest investor of all time, and everybody would tell you, read this book called, what's the book called? Intelligent Investor. I tell everybody, don't read that goddamn book. First of all, it's a big book, and it's boring as hell. Ain't nothing exciting about it. Don't read that book till you realize I'm gonna do this is my life. I didn't start reading that book, I'm not gonna lie to you, till the pandemic, because I was just sitting around watching Billions. I'm like, I might well read it now. Because that is, don't get me wrong, the book is great. But even Warren Buffett changes his philosophy. Now here's what none of the investing pages are gonna tell you. Here's what none of the investing gurus are gonna tell you. So Warren Buffett used to study a man named Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham made all his money during the Great Depression. He would do what's called cigarette butt investments, meaning he would buy companies that didn't even worth nothing, but get $1-2 out of it, he would make a whole lot of money. Warren Buffett followed that same procedure until he met a dude named Charlie Munger. And Charlie Munger said, Warren, if we want to really make a lot of money, we got to stop doing that, because it's better to buy a great company at a fair price than to buy a fair company at a great price. Trap, what that mean? It's better to buy a company that I know that's good at a decent price than buy a trash company at a discount price. Because I'm going to get a better return on a company that has value over the long term than I will buying a company that's trash. Does that make sense? So he changed his investment philosophy. All right, Warren Buffett at one time said, I don't believe in technology stocks. They not good. Guess what that's his biggest position is right now? That's a tech stock to me. What happens is the information evolves. Here's what I want to tell you. What do we do when a new truth collides with an old belief? We got to choose the one that benefits us more. When a new truth collides with an old belief, we got to choose the one that benefits us more. Are we trapping? All right, let's go to the first. Stop right there. So the next thing is what's the wrong reason to sell a stock? When the price went up from buying, when the price just went up. Why are we selling runners? So watch this. How many of y'all been here before? Trap, that thing made me $50. I'm about to take the profit. Look at my cousin. I wasn't even talking about him this time. That boy said, "Cuz, that thing made $50. I'm about to sell it." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I ain't worked for it. That was free money. I'm not giving it back." Also, one of the worst things to sell it for is because the price go down. We got to find a valid reason, y'all. The stock market goes up 76% of the time. So the market goes up 76% of the time. That means we got to endure some down times. But the market is designed for us to truly make money. Y'all with me? Let's go a little further.